Join the kingdom.
And welcome to the special edition COVID-19 Rogers Television program. My name is Carol Merton, and today I'm delighted to welcome as a guest Beth Aubrey. And Beth is the Executive Director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Grey Bruce. I've got the title right. Do I, Beth?
You sure do. Yeah, it's great to be here today. Thanks, Carol. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I'm really interested in knowing. You're relatively new to this area, my understanding. So if you can tell us a little bit about, how long you've been with the organization and what your current role is. And then we'll talk about COVID-19 impact on Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Yeah, so I'm actually, like you said, Carol, I'm new to the organization. I've been with Big Brothers Big Sisters in their executive director role here in Grey Bruce for just about 6 months. So it's still pretty recent, but I did grow up in this community. I'm originally from Walkerton, so I did grow up on Saucon territory, and did my schooling just in Waterloo. But I was living in BC for the last about 5 years. Had a privilege of working in Victoria with some great nonprofits there, a lot of youth services in those communities, and it was such a privilege for that. But me and my partner felt like it was the time for us to relocate back, and the position just seemed so fitting. So I used to be involved in the programs myself. I was a big and did some in-school programs with the organization. So it feels pretty full circle for me to be back in my home community, but also working for an organization that I have immense respect for.
Excellent. Now, I love the title Bigs and Littles, but I'm wondering, you mentioned you were a big, so I'm wondering if you could just clarify what the Bigs and Littles mean.
Yes. So we run mentorship-based programs, both in communities and within the school district, both the Catholic Board and Blue Water. People really ask a lot about our Bigs and Littles name, and we refer to them as our mentors and mentees, or our Bigs and Littles. So we welcome youth right up to 16 years old, and we work to really match those youth with someone trusting, caring, right locally within their community. And that person gets the title of the big, which is great.
Yeah. Now, the funding for your organization, you mentioned you had experience in your other work environment working with nonprofits and that, but how does the funding work for this organization?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are positioned in sort of a unique place because a lot of people think that we get quite a bit of sponsorship from, government and big grants and that kind of thing, because we are connected to Big Brothers Big Sisters National. Although they do provide us some support, we don't receive a lot of government core funding. So the vast majority of our funds comes a little bit from grant writing to local foundations. But a big piece of it is sponsorship, local within the community. And I know we're going to talk about COVID today, Carol, and certainly that's been an impact for sponsors. But what has been such a beautiful thing for me to see is the resilience of businesses and communities that are coming forward and still able to support us even in difficult times, because it is a big portion of the funds that keep our programs running.
So that's a wonderful segue into how have you managed over COVID with the programs, and be sure to put in how the community can help you within that as well.
Yeah, so it has been certainly tough. The word of the year, I think, for every organization has been pivot, and we've done that again and again and again.
Yeah.
Each organization has been feeling that. We're certainly not the only ones in the community. And I think, we've gotten really creative and we've been really lucky. We were funded by the James Goreski Foundation, and they have funded us to do some outdoor wellness program through the Outdoor Education Center in partnership with Wickwodong Friendship Center. Last time I came on, I talked a little bit about, that we were applying for that funding, and that was really exciting to do that. So the last Saturday of the month, we are out at the Outdoor Education Center And that's been a great, space for us because during COVID, it has been limited. Our programs are really uniquely positioned that we can still have the capacity to run and provide services and support to, over 100 youth across Grey and Bruce, even during COVID, because of our one-to-one sort of relationships and our ability to maintain, safe practices even within some of the restrictions that we've been seeing. And, in order to get involved, in order to support us, I think the biggest thing that we need is we have 50 youth on our wait list. And that is, that need across Grey and Bruce. We're such a large community and a large catchment that, we need mentors to come forward. And we do have a couple on our wait list that I'd love to call out today while we're here. We've got a little brother in Wyerton. He's 10 years old. He loves cars, Lego, going to the park, going outside swimming. He's on our wait list in that area. We have a little sister in Markdale, another little brother in Paisley, and a little brother in Owen Sound. So, these are just some of the kiddos on our wait list, but we are certainly still looking for mentors. Outside of that, we're doing our sponsorship requests right now. So we have made some asks to the community and we have seen some members starting to step forward. So I would say if you're a business, really think about sponsoring something local in your area. We do have that wait list of 50 youth, and a big piece of serving those youth is, having the mentoring support worker, a caseworker to sort of fill that role. We have a wonderful caseworker right now who's certainly at capacity and beyond, and COVID has only exacerbated that. So we are still looking for sponsorship dollars and funds to help, reach those kids who really need it the most.
So individuals can also donate, correct, to Big Brothers Big Sisters, as well as corporate sponsors. And for anyone who's watching the program, how would they donate? How do the donations flow in? I'm putting a plug in for you.
Yes, thanks, Carol. Yeah, the best way to do that is just to head right on over to our website. We have a sponsorship link there. It's just Big Brothers Big Sisters at greybruce.ca. You can pop your sponsorship information there, and that, just as Carol mentioned, it could be a business, it could be an individual who just feels the need and the call to support in their local area. So it's very simple setup on our website there. We can also receive checks or cash, and we will go out in the community to receive that. So we make it really as simple as possible for anyone looking, to support us. And you can always give us a call at our local Owen Sound office number if you're having any, questions about that process.
Yeah. Now, just to clarify, the children, the youth, because youth is much nicer. 6 to 16 or 6 to 18, how does that work?
Yeah. So 6 to 16, we have went up, 17, 18 for some youth who are needing it or, aging out of care or going through complicated situations. But the vast majority of our youth are sort of within that catchment. And of course, our school age is within that. And then our community-based programs, we can support 17 or 18, but the vast majority is within that sort of middle ground.
So the outdoor program that you received the grant for and the sponsorship, was that a new program that you hadn't offered? And that came as a direct result of the need for outdoor activity through COVID. So that was actually a program development that, I'm not saying COVID's positive, but it allowed that new program to develop.
Yeah. I think it sort of exposed some, maybe pre-existing needs that were in the community. I think it really, gave us, I think, the fire that we needed to make another step to expand our program. And, we've always run those traditional community-based and school-based programs that have been really successful. But with our long wait list, we really wanted to get creative about finding a way to service that wait list to support those kids that might not have a match just yet in their area. But also we wanted to, really, leverage what we were doing for during COVID. So that program has been, last year we had 30 kids out there. We had grandmothers, we had young, youth in our program, kids of all ages. And, I had to laugh because we had, some grandmas who were putting on their snowshoes, getting out there with their kids. And of course, kids are welcome to come on their own, but they're also welcome to bring their big with them or their guardian with them. And we really encourage just sort of that connection back to community and the intergenerational connections that we just feel are really important. So, that has been just a space where we get to see smiles. We get to keep, the safety piece as well, but it's just an opportunity for a little bit less structured time and a little bit more time in nature, which I think has been beneficial for us all right now. Most of the youth within our programs, and we've seen it right across Grey and Bruce and other communities, are really struggling with feeling isolated, feeling really alone during this time. And oftentimes, we see youth from all different backgrounds in our program, but oftentimes we see single parents. We see grandparents caring for their children. We see, different sorts of family setups that, really do need that extra support. And especially if you have a young one, I mean, the grandmas that we had out, the folks that were coming out they were definitely keeping up with those youth, but they appreciated having some staff around as well to spend some time with them. So it's just us getting a little bit creative, and we really wanted to open it up to the community, to work with the Friendship Center was really important to us. And we also opened it up to the Concardin Big Brothers, Big Sisters as well.
Which was really a great outreach to draw everyone together. So one of my questions was, what has the impact of COVID-19 been on the bigs and the littles, because it affects everyone, and you describe that. So during the time when the youth were not able to go to school because of restrictions, were they still able to stay connected with their bigs, and how did that happen?
Yeah. We again took a lot of thought, and that was quite a creative process with how we were going to move forward during these times. We were able to maintain a lot of connections. There was still youth that, similar to their family, because like I said, our organization is so unique, these mentors involved in their life, it's not a caseworker, it's not a support worker, it is someone who is more like family a lot of the time. So some of those connections with safety measures in place were able to continue, which was beautiful to see. Some of our school programs, we did see an impact to some of our school programs, and I have to give credit to, our local districts. They worked incredibly well with us, and we're able to be back in schools now, but there was a period where that was affected. And certainly, I've got, nephews that are that age that are, in school right now. It's, a lot of the extracurriculars are sort of getting cut. It's just keeping to the basics because, we're doing the best we can to educate our youth right now in these really difficult times. So the school has been really welcoming and appreciative of, having our support and having us come in. And, we're just making sure that we're doing that in a safe and accessible way. And ultimately, our goal has been to see, informed consent so that families are feeling comfortable with the relationships and our mentors are feeling comfortable and supported. And some folks did choose to move to an online format, families feeling like that was maybe a safer position and choice for them. And we absolutely respected that. And actually, we received some funding from the Community Foundation to do what we call the program called Kits for Kids. And so because we were limited in some of those interactions, we, brought in some extra tools for youth and their mentors to connect sort of virtually. We're happy to say that was a shorter period of time, and we're hoping to be moving towards more and more in-person connections. But like I said, I just think the nature of our program really positions us in a unique way to really keep those relationships, because they're not coming into a big complex center where there's multiple people coming in. This is a relational wellness program, and that one-on-one connection has still been able to happen. So, and I thank our sponsors for that kind of support, because certainly sponsorship has been impacted just like everything else. Businesses are struggling, and some people had to take a step back this year. So we're trying to be respectful, of businesses' needs and their ability to contribute as well. So, like I said, the word is pivot. We have pivoted once, and we try to continue to do it again and just get creative, and we just have a small team, Carol. There's just 4 of us that are able to run our programs. So people are often surprised by that, and I'm always impressed with our team's ability to really hold our mentors up and hold our youth up, because they're the ones that are making that impact.
For sure. You had described using technology to stay connected. Do you think that kind of will continue? I've heard from other organizations that they may move to and continue with they call it a hybrid model. Do you anticipate that with your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have heard that a lot as well from other nonprofits, that they're sort of bringing that in. I think technology is an excellent tool, and I think it works really well for some people, and some people do struggle with it. I don't think there's anything that replaces that genuine sort of person-to-person connection. But that being said, we have made those avenues as possible as we can. For instance, our bowling events coming up April 21st and April 23rd. This year, we're doing that event in Collingwood, we're doing that event in Owen Sound, and we're doing in Port Elgin. That's the first time we've expanded to all of those communities. And we're offering in each of those areas in-person opportunities and virtual opportunities. We really want to make sure it's at the comfort level of the person who wants to participate. So I'm hoping that we, really can move forward with our ability to still maintain a lot of those in-person connections, but certainly we're mindful that some people still are feeling like that's more comfortable for them, and we want to honor that as well. So we are, just like other organizations, finding that delicate balance during a complicated time.
For sure. It truly is a delicate dance between being able to provide the programming, but respecting individuals' confidence level and comfort level.
Exactly.
So as you move through COVID, as we all move through COVID, I'm hearing you say that definitely more bigs are required. And I'm wondering if you could explain to anyone who's listening, if they're thinking, gee, could I do that? Could I maybe talk a little bit about, what skills do you look for, and what's the process? How does it flow, so that there might be someone listening who may think, I've got time and maybe this is something I could do.
Yes, that's one of the questions we get asked the most. And I love talking about that because, I think it can be, we hear a lot of people that have the desire to get involved, but they want to know the nitty gritty, what's going to be involved. So in terms of what we're looking for, we have quite a screening process that people go through in order to be involved in our program, to ensure safety, to ensure the right fit, to ensure that the families that are entrusting us with their youth are in the best hands possible. So we have an excellent mentoring coordinator who's very experienced. She's worked with us for many years, and she does kind of a couple-step process. So she's, we're looking for criminal record checks, of course, and vulnerable sectors checks, which we always walk our mentors through what that looks like. We're there every step of the way for that process. That's kind of the first sort of piece, is making that, connection with us, showing interest, and then we're gonna start the process. Another piece of it is we do offer training. So outside of sort of some of the screening pieces, we do offer individualized training for each interested mentor. Everyone comes in with their own set of skills. We have some folks that are, parents themselves. We have some folks that are, social workers or involved in social services or healthcare that might have a little bit more experience working directly with youth. But then, we have people that might be their first time volunteering. And I think there's a different set of skills and gifts that each person as a mentor brings. And it's really about that right fit and that right connection. So not only are we doing that training piece to really give someone the skills that they need, we're also looking at what are you looking for as a mentor? What is your time commitment? What kinds of, interests do you have, so we can make that right fit? We usually ask that they, you meet with your, little, as we call it, once a week. Sometimes, things can happen. People have vacations, they have other things, so we understand that. It's about maintaining that relationship and being consistent, and really showing up for that person. So we kind of take all those kind of things into consideration. We do like a house check, so we'll come to the person's space, and we'll do that as COVID friendly as we can during these times. And then we do the last step of the matching piece, making that connection, that relationship. And then of course there's sort of ongoing check-ins or support there if needed. And we, offer all of our big bunch programs and our wellness outdoors programs and our group programming, so that there is opportunities for all the littles and bigs to come together as well. But those are the first, steps that we go through. And like I said, it's a match on both ends. We want to make sure it's the right match for the mentee, but also a good match for the mentor involved. And I would say, Carol, the vast majority of the bigs I've spoken with or the testimonials that we've had, it's really the mentor that's getting the most out of the relationship. And I think that we all know a young person in our lives, and that's usually the case. It's usually we learn the most from them, and they, give us the most out of that relationship. So, we do our Christmas parade every year, and we have bigs and littles come out to that, and special events. So it's really about, being more involved in your community and being that sense of connection and support for someone. And like I said, we're really a stigma-free organization. A lot of our families are just looking for that extra little bit of support, or, single parent families who might be looking for, a male in their home or a female in their home, someone who's, identifying with that youth in a way that maybe they don't feel like they can. So it's quite special.
When I looked up Big Brothers and Big Sisters, just to be sure I was current with the information, your mission, what you've really described, fits. It's the mission statement to enable life-changing mentoring relationships. I love this phrase, to ignite the power and potential of young people. That word, ignite the power and potential, that phrase is huge. And your vision is that all young people realize their full potential. So by this mentoring relationship, now this relationship could go on years, correct?
Yeah.
And what sorts of activities, you described them attending sort of activities that Big Brothers, Big Sisters puts on as a group for all to get together, but a mentor, what sorts of different things might you do with a little?
Yeah, that's also a great question. Like you said, Carol, we do have relationships that have been ongoing for quite a long time. I spoke with a member of the community just the other day who, their little attended their wedding. And they were part of that. We have relationships, like I said, it is oftentimes multi-year. And we talk about that, in psychology as relational well-being. One of the most fundamental human pieces of us is that need to connect. And it is igniting that potential, just like you said, through something so simple as connection. So that is really fundamental for us. Some of the things you can get involved in, within our programs is all of our fundraising events, certainly our bowling event, and we do a golfing event coming up in September as well. Bigs and littles attend that, but also members from the community are welcome. And then we do what are called big bunch events. And we almost have our own language here at Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Grey Bruce, but our big bunch events are similar to our outdoor wellness programs, but they are rotating. So we'll do something during spring break. We had, a yoga teacher come in, did some animal yoga, which, was quite fun. We've had different, chefs come in and do, with our Bake for Kids' Sake event, supporting that. So we keep our volunteers engaged that way. We want to make lots of space for connection, how I mentioned. So those are just some of the ways that we really like to bring people together.
Excellent. I'd just like to talk a little bit, I know we've got about 3 or 4 minutes in the show, about the actual programming. I know there were programs you ran routinely pre-COVID. So some of it were the in-school, so a little bit about that, where the mentors actually go into the school environment, and maybe you can speak to that. And then there were programs specifically for girls. Is that correct? I don't know if you're still doing that.
Yeah, we do in-school programs, so community-based, but also in-school. Our in-school programs run out of any schools that are looking for that support in Blue Water, so our Catholic board and our public board as well. And those programs are unique because they are sort of a group setting. And this is an opportunity, our community-based matches are one-on-one, so this is more of an opportunity for a larger group to get together. Female identifying folks are, in one group, and male identifying males are in our Game On program. And, we have the opportunity for some group learning there, some relationship building, but also just self-esteem, confidence, healthy relationships. Lots of different sort of topics covered in there, and similar within both groups. But, it has been really successful having those groups run in schools. And last year we were able to have, even during COVID, we were able to run quite a few groups and only a couple breaks during that time. So we feel really successful with that, and we are, hopeful to continue that program as well.
Excellent. So the Go Girls, and then I see, the Eat Smart, Play Smart program. Yeah. They're still going on as well.
That's right. Yeah. So each school can sort of request from us directly what they're interested in. And we do have programs right now that are just starting back up again with us being able to come back into the schools, which is really exciting. So we will have some running again in the Catholic board and the Blue Water board, both those as well. And I've sort of waited till the end for this, but we do sort of also have some exciting news that this year we're going to be looking at doing some expansion into Collingwood. So unfortunately, Georgian Triangle closed back in 2020, their chapter there, and they had 270 youth at that time that they were supporting. As one of the neighboring organizations, we did pick up supporting some of those youth in that area. And now with the support of some members of that Georgian Triangle community, we're really excited to be, expanding into Collingwood in 2022.
That's exciting, and I think that's wonderful. Our time has gone so quickly. I want to thank you so much for being on the program and sharing the news with us about Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Grey Bruce. Thank you to our viewing audience for joining us today. Please join us again to learn more about programs, services, and resources available to you and to your family. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media.